That's like, well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Be Easy Sports Podcast. My name is Brian Madru. I am Be Easy, and I want to thank all of you for joining me tonight on this very, very interesting day as a Steeler fan on tonight's show. Before we begin, though, before we jump right into it, I definitely want to, of course, have you guys make sure you guys subscribe. You guys can look in the right hand corner somewhere over there in that corner. If you guys want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, we greatly appreciate that. Please make sure you subscribe. Every subscription matters. I really appreciate you guys for helping the channel grow, or the page grow, I should say, on Facebook. I really appreciate that as well. And of course, as always, please leave your comments below. Leave your comments below. Looking forward to the comments. I love reading your comments during the live feed, after the live feed. I'm all for it. Please leave the comments below. I love having engaging in conversation, especially when it comes to sports with you guys, either on Facebook or on YouTube or even on here. I really appreciate it, guys. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. I don't want to waste a lot of time. I know it's a little later back home, back east. Back east, and it's about almost 9 o'clock over there, so I want to get this started. But of course, let's talk about the big news. Steeler Nation, let's talk, man. Let's talk about the big news. Why most of you were sleeping last night. But let's just go in and ease right into it real quick. But again, of course, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please take your phones out. It's a little better. It's probably a little clear right here. Please take your phones out and just subscribe. Use your QR code. Go straight to the YouTube channel. You can probably watch it on there right now. You can probably comment on there as well. Would greatly appreciate it. And of course, leave your comments below. I will respond to them either during the show or after the show. Definitely love when you guys respond. Definitely love when you guys respond during the show so we can have a live conversation. But let's jump right into it. Let's jump right into one of the biggest news of last night while you guys were sleeping, of course. That's all. The rundown. I forgot. This is new. This is new for me. This is new. Definitely have a rundown. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Russell Wilson. Reaction to the signing. We're going to be talking about what does this mean for young Kenny Pickett and the rest of the team. And of course, I want to get into Justin Fields as well. I want to get into that as well. What does this mean for Justin Fields? What does this mean for him? Because as you guys know, today, as of right now, or by the time you watch this video, a lot of guys have already been picked up, right? Baker Mayfield was re-signed by the Bucks. Atlanta Falcons signed possibly the greatest negotiator of all time in Kirk Cousins. What does this mean for Justin Fields? Is the market getting kind of soft on him? I don't really know, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But first, we start, of course, with the big bang. A lot of you guys were sleeping, like I said. Russell Wilson is a Steeler. All right, so I got this news around, I don't know, it's probably around 9:30. So yeah, East Coasters are probably definitely sleeping. And I'm not gonna lie, man. I had and still kind of have mixed feelings about this. I understand everyone thinks it is a good fit. Let me start off by saying that it is a good fit. Couple questions I have to ask, right? Steeler fans, we have to ask ourselves: is this an upgrade? Yes, this is an upgrade. It's an upgrade. As you guys know, the last 3 to 4 years, it has been a pretty abysmal quarterback play in Pittsburgh. It's been pretty. You can even go back to when Ben was there. You can even go back to Ben's last couple years. He wasn't very good either. So maybe the last 5 years in Pittsburgh, we have had really average to abysmal quarterback play. So I'm pretty happy that I'm only happy because I think Russell Wilson is an upgrade to this. But I have my concerns, and I've talked to a lot of Steeler fans as well. We have our concerns. I think more people are happy about it than us. I think people on the outside are more happy about it than we are, which I found very interesting. And some of the concerns we all have with Russell Wilson is how much he has left, right? Russell Wilson, the last couple of years in Denver, man, let's be real here. He was average, right? Last year he played a little better, but those numbers are a little skewed because he took a lot of sacks, and we'll talk about that in a minute. He was a little better last year, but that's concerning because our offensive line isn't great. It's better, but it's not great. So I'm not sure how much that's going to change. Obviously there's a lot of talk. I mean, the personality, does he fit in Pittsburgh? Is he, what is his personality is he gonna gel with the city of Pittsburgh? It's a really, really blue collar community. Is Russell Wilson and Seattle going to be able to gel in that community? I think he will, but those are just legitimate questions that some people had. I don't think he's going to have a really hard time acclimating that much to Pittsburgh. If anything, it's such a blue collar city. All you can do is play football and focus on football, right? Those are a couple of the concerns. Other concerns people had is, like I said, is what's left of Russell Wilson, right? How much better is he? How much of an upgrade? Is it an upgrade? I think we can all agree, yes, it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade from Kenny Pickett. But how much of an upgrade? And, what does this mean moving forward, right? Here's how I think of this. It's a win-win, right? Like, it's a win-win situation for us. And here's what I mean. I think it's a win-win situation for us because Russ is coming in expecting to be the star. I would think his mindset is, I'm not going to let this average dude, Kenny Pickett, who I don't think is very good. We'll get to him in a minute. I'm not going to let this dude, Kenny Pickett, have a shot at winning this, right? And I think that if Russell Wilson can kind of blow Kenny Pickett out of the water in this competition, because Mike Tomlin's going to come out and say this is a competition, right? He's not going to come out and say Russell's our starter. This is not what he does. He's already kind of alluded to it. He did say that they're going to bring in some competition for Kenny Pickett. I wasn't anticipating anything of this big of a name, but I mean, the price tag, I understand, was too much to ignore, right? I mean, the price tag, we'll get to that in a minute. The price tag was too much to ignore. So I understand why they brought him in, but here's why I feel like it's a win-win for us, right? If Russell Wilson comes in and just blows Kenny Pickett out of the water, right? That tells me a couple things. A, that Russell Wilson might be better than I think he is now. And then B, there's a chip on his shoulder, which I'm hoping he leans on. I'm hoping Russ leans on this chip on his shoulder because he's kind of in that Baker Mayfield realm of this is my prove it deal. It's a 1-year vet minimum for $1 million. I'm getting paid by the Broncos, so it's really it's no pressure on. Well, maybe a little pressure on him because I feel like if this doesn't work out here, his career is over. But this is more of a kind of a prove it Baker Mayfield style season for him. And if he can have a Baker Mayfield season, we're probably on track, right? And he should beat out Kenny Pickett, right? So if he beats out Kenny Pickett, and when I say beat out Kenny Pickett, he has to beat out Kenny Pickett. There shouldn't be any mention of Kenny Pickett winning this job. I mean, he should win this job the first, second week in training camp. The rep should be going to Russell Wilson. But if there's anything where oh, well, no, Kenny Pickett's actually, pushing Russ, right? Right. Or vice versa. Right. Then that's where it could possibly be. That's where it could possibly be another win, right? Another win, because if Kenny Pickett can push Rush, and let's say Kenny Pickett is, let's say he has chip on his shoulder because he got benched by Mason Rudolph. Okay, he got benched by Mason Rudolph. He didn't get his job back when he was healthy. Mason Rudolph took pretty much the same exact football team outside of having Matt Canada call plays. But even when Matt Canada wasn't calling plays, Kenny Pickett was still pretty mid. The same football team we saw Mason Rudolph take to the playoffs. So I would expect Kenny Pickett to have a boulder-sized chip on his shoulder as well, right? So honestly, if it's a win-win thing, if both these guys push each other to be the best, right? Great. Russell Wilson, though, I will say this. If Kenny Pickett beats out Russell Wilson is done. And it tells me that Kenny Pickett might be ready to step up, right? He might be. I'm still not a huge believer in him, but he might be. If Russell Wilson blows Kenny Pickett out of the water, if he doesn't even have a shot, right, to start, then you know what? Then Russell Wilson, that chip on the shoulder may be doing what it needs to do, and he could be playing for another big contract possibly towards the end of his career. So there's a lot going on here. Both guys have a lot to like really play for, but this should be Russ's job, man. like this, I'm gonna be really paying attention to the quarterback battle. We shouldn't be. I think Russ is gonna win. I think every Steeler fans expects Russell Wilson to win, but at the end of the day, I'm looking at how much does he win? Like, what are we hearing? Is it close? Because that's gonna bother me a little bit, right? That's gonna be concerning to me if it's a little close. Right. And it's going to be concerning to me if it's close and Russell Wilson still wins, because then it's like, okay, we still have no quarterback because you have two. Right. Now we don't know who to start. I want a clear cut winner. That's what I'm looking for. Also, it could be a win. Lastly, before we move on to pick Kenny, it could be a win if Kenny wins the job, because I've been saying this for a while. I've said this. I feel like one of the most underrated assets for any quarterback or a quarterback room to have is a vet. Russell Wilson is just that. He is a veteran quarterback who I think really can bring a lot to a team, a locker room. Kenny Pickett can learn from him. So whether Kenny's starting, which I don't think he will, but whether Kenny's starting or not, he'll be in the same quarterback room as a Russell Wilson, right, who he can learn from. I think that's a huge benefit when it comes to these young quarterbacks, because a lot of these times these young quarterbacks don't have older veteran quarterbacks to look up to or to like pick their brains. It's like having another coach in the room, right? Like you can't go wrong with that, right? So I definitely feel like it'll be a win-win in that situation as well. So this is a low risk move, right? Low risk, possibly high reward, maybe a middle reward, but there's low risk to this because now we're going to figure out what we need to do with our quarterback situation, right? We somewhat kind of fixed it. I think Russell Wilson is going to come in and play pretty well. Look, he played okay last year. Again, definite upgrade, but we'll see. I still have a lot of questions about Russell Wilson, man. Like, took a lot of sacks last year too, which I wasn't a big fan of. And our offensive line is good, but we'll see. Also, is going to a very run-heavy offense. Arthur Smith wants to run the football, and that's what Russell Wilson is used to. And if there's anything I'll say that Russ didn't have in Denver was a solid run game, which Russ obviously has thrived off of when he was in Minnesota or Seattle with Marshawn Lynch and a couple other backs that he had after Marshawn Lynch had moved on. He thrives off heavy run game, play action, rolling out, and that's when he's at his best. And I think Arthur Smith, with our running backs, with Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, obviously our receivers, Deontay Johnson, who I think is on the trade block, but I think he'll come back. At least we get something back for him. And then obviously George Pickens, who I believe, in my opinion, is one of the best receivers, is a top 10 wide receiver in this league, right? Right. And, we have a top 10 wide receiver in this league. You just got to get the ball to him. And it's something that Kenny Pickett could not do, right? And here's some numbers. I got some numbers on my next slide just to kind of comparing Kenny Pickett and Russell Wilson last year. As you can see on your screen, I mean, man, it's the QBR. It's just, look, Russ had a good year last year. Oh, he had an okay year, right? Numbers don't really tell the whole story. But he had a good year. But Kenny Pickett, man, my God, like his numbers, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to his numbers in a minute. I'm going to make this a little bigger so you guys can see what I see. Kenny Pickett just had he's just not very good. Let's just talk about Kenny real quick. Let's talk about Kenny Pickett real quick, man. So the question is, what does this mean for Kenny Pickett and the rest of the team? Well, I kind of already explained what it means for the rest of the team. I think the offense is going to be ran a lot smoother. I think Russell Wilson is going to be put in a situation where he's going to be able to manage the football game, running the football. I hope Arthur Smith kind of understands that. He kind of did it in what was he, Tennessee, when he had Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. I want to see that. That's the kind of offense I want to see. But managing the game is something that Kenny Pickett couldn't even do. He couldn't do it. Like, he couldn't get the ball to his playmakers. And, like, the most frustrating part about Kenny Pickett, man, was that, bro, like, you have George Pickens, and again, in my opinion, is one of the best receivers in this draft, or I'm sorry, in this league, right? You couldn't even get him the football. That's concerning to me, right? If you can't get that, and then the guy your backup, your backup got him the football. Mason Rudolph understood the assignment. Like, Mason Rudolph understood that, I'm going to get the ball to this 6'4" dude on the outside, right, and let him just work. And Kenny Pickett couldn't even do that. That's the issue I had with Kenny Pickett. Like, look, I wasn't high on the guy from the jump. I didn't like the pick back in 2021. I understand. I didn't really understand like the logic behind the pick. The only logic that I heard was that, he went to Pittsburgh, so it's in our building, so he must be good. Like, no, well, I don't care where he played. I don't care about that. That wasn't a good look. To be completely fair, that was a horrible quarterback draft. I don't know if you guys remember. It was pretty much him and Malik Willis, and Malik Willis has yet to be seen in this league yet. I think Malik Willis was drafted like in the 3rd round. That's how bad that quarterback draft was. I can't even name another quarterback that came out of 2021. And Kenny Pickett was the best quarterback, was the headliner in that draft when it came to quarterback, right? That's just how mid that draft was. It's the bottom line, man. Kenny can't play, man. Like, I'm not a big believer in him, but look, here's the thing. Here's what I thought about, right? Look, I'm okay with being proven wrong, Kenny, right? I'm okay with it. Okay. Like, I'm okay with being proven wrong because you know what? If you prove me wrong and actually show that you're actually good and you can play, you know what that means? That means we're winning games. Like, that means we're doing okay. We're doing okay as a team, right? I'll make this a little bigger too. So you guys see the numbers. I know how big that is. It looks pretty small from my end, but I'm not sure what it looks like on your end. But here are Kenny's numbers, man. The last 2 years, bro. Like 13 touchdowns. The last 2 years, 7 touchdowns last year. He had 6 this year or this past year. He was out, I believe, the last the last 5 games of the season. I get he does have a winning record as a quarterback, but I don't put a lot of stock into that because that's the quarterback win record thing. Like, honestly, the defense bailed him out many times in those games. Like, TJ Watt probably deserves some of those wins anyway. So, like, I'm not gonna give that a lot of stock, but. Like, look, Russell Wilson, consider this, man. This is how bad the quarterback play has been. And Kenny Pickett is at the forefront because he's been our starter the last 2 years. Russell Wilson has had more touchdowns the last 2 years than every Steeler quarterback that's come in. That's Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph over the last 2 years. Like, oh, man, it's been abysmal. The quarterback play has been abysmal, right? This person says, is the standard still the standard? I'm not really sure what that means. You got to explain to me. I think it is. I think the standard is the standard still. Because, look, here's why. Here's why I'll answer that question. Here's why. I appreciate Mike Tomlin actually recognizing, like, man, we have a team here. And we can't let this young dude who's probably not ready to play or can't play at all mess up this nucleus we have right now, right? We got a good nucleus today. Right now, I'm not saying we have a Super Bowl winning team. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that. I will not say that. But I will say that we have a team that definitely can make some noise, right? Get in the playoffs and make some noise, right? Appreciate that, Hill, right? Like, so I definitely think we have the squad, right? I definitely do think we have the squad. And Kenny Pickett's just not the dude, man. He's just not. He can't. I don't think he can play. But again, if he proves me wrong, God bless him, right? God bless Kenny Pickett, because that means this move by Russell Wilson actually helped him. This move by Russell Wilson, right? Or if anything, maybe sitting behind Russ for a year, right? And then actually watching how a guy conducts himself professionally, again, in the QB room, which is like, I think it's really underrated, right? Possibly could help. Right? Possibly can help Kenny Pickett. And then maybe, I'm not optimistic. I promise you I'm not at all. But maybe he can get better. But I'm on the side of, man, this dude can't play. He's not very good. I've seen enough. I've seen 2 years of it. And then the final nail in the coffin for me, and I said this during the season last year, with Kenny Pickett is they didn't even put him back in when he was healthy, right? Your franchise quarterback, right? Who you drafted in the first round, you had all the confidence in the world in, right? You don't put him in when he's healthy. That doesn't happen to franchise quarterbacks, right? It just doesn't happen. Like I don't care how good the backup is playing. Your backup is your backup for a reason. If you have a franchise quarterback, you put him in the game, right? Right. It would be like Nathan with a guy from the Jaguars, Bethard. What's his name? Something Bethard. He came in for Trevor Lawrence, right? And I think he came in for a couple games, and Trevor Lawrence was ready to come back in, right? Trevor Lawrence was ready. I think he was. Or did Trevor Lawrence have this whole season? No, he came back. But bottom line is, like, the Jaguars didn't say, you know what, Bethard, you can play. Like, Trevor, sit back. You're a franchise quarterback. But we like this guy a little better over here, right? For now. That's not your franchise quarterback. So, Kenny, that was the nail in the coffin for me. That's what I knew. Like, okay, they don't believe in this guy. They can give us all the lip service they want in terms of saying, oh, we believe in him. We're going to bring in competition, blah, blah, blah. Nah, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. So we'll see. But we'll see. I hope Kenny learns from this. I really do. I hope he does. I hope he gets better. He seems like a good dude. But we'll just have to see. I don't at this moment. At the moment, I don't believe in the guy. I just don't. I don't. I'm sorry. Yeah. So moving forward, I really wanted to get to this because it kind of ties into a lot of it, right? Because I wanted Justin Fields. I felt like Justin Fields was going to make our team just as dynamic as it can be, right? I felt like he was a guy that, could possibly do what Russell Wilson is doing, but better, but more dynamic, right? I don't see why Justin Fields can't hand the ball off to Jalen Warren or Najee Harris and do some play action. I don't know. What I do think is the price tag for Russell Wilson was too good. Like $1 million for a 9-time Pro Bowler, a professional quarterback who still can somewhat kind of play. It's better than giving up some picks for a guy that I think can play. But it's better than giving up picks, right? You would have to give up maybe a third for right now, a third. Maybe that's dropping right now because Justin Fields, everyone's getting picked up but him, right? So where does this leave Justin Fields? Right? Where does this leave him? Because I think I personally think the Bears should keep him, but they're not. So that's out. Right. So number one is done. Right. I don't think I posted this sometime this morning and everybody was saying it's kind of the similar teams, right? Watch the Commanders, the Patriots. Who else was it? The Giants or the Giants. I saw people say Minnesota. I think I said the Commanders already. So they're the pretty much the teams that are picking up at the top of the draft. People were saying those teams because they need quarterbacks, right? I don't think those teams think Justin Fields' potential is better than those guys coming in. I do, but I think those teams with the college kids, right? So this is why I chose these teams on your screen because I really feel like these are the best teams. And actually, number two, the Raiders, they're out. I believe they just signed Gardner Minshew. So the Raiders might be out. So they may have their guy maybe come in. I mean, they may still draft a quarterback. I think they still will, but they may just have a guy who's going to compete. But maybe they can still trade for Justin Fields. Who knows? But that might be out now, right? So that's why I chose those teams on your screen right there because I feel like these are the best teams that make the most sense, right? I feel like Justin Fields, unfortunately, may have to come to grips with him being a backup. It's just he might, man. Like it might be a reality. He might have to come to grips with that, right? I don't know, man. It sucks. It's not cool, but he may be a backup quarterback for a year because he only has one more year remaining on his contract. So I said the Saints. I think he could probably come in and push Derek Carr. Maybe. I think they're gonna get rid of my boy What's his name? Jameis Winston. I think he's gone. As far as I know, I don't know if he's been released yet, but I think he was a free agent anyway. So I think he's out. But Justin Fields, good backup. He's from the South. He's from Georgia, not Louisiana, but it's close enough to his hometown. I think that will be electric. For that team, the Browns. I put the Browns up there, and here's why I put the Browns up there. One, you don't have to really change your scheme. If you're Stefanski when it comes to the quarterback, because Justin Fields has pretty much same skill set as Deshaun Watson. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man. In my opinion, just speaking to Browns fans, I don't know what's happening in the front office. I don't know if the front office feels this way. I don't know, but I will say I do feel like that they're getting antsy, little antsy with Deshaun Watson, man. And look, here's the thing. I know they gave him this big $250 million or whatever, $30 million contract or whatever it may be. I get it, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that that the Browns wouldn't just somehow just eat whatever money they got to eat, because the Broncos did it to Russell Wilson. Okay, so I don't see why I don't think the Browns are gonna do that. By the way, I think he will back up Deshaun Watson, but I think it's possible, because if the Broncos can do it, the Browns can do it. So this is Deshaun Watson. I believe his second year starting, his third year in Cleveland. Let's see how year 2 goes, because not a good look when you're back up. It's 39 years old. Joe Flacco take your team to the playoffs, man, and you weren't doing that well when you were playing. So the Jets, I think this might be one of the more plausible ones. I think the Jets should make the move, man. I do. Aaron Rodgers is coming back, and let Justin Fields stick behind Aaron Rodgers, right? Let Justin Fields, let him learn. Again, that quarterback room, having that vet in the room goes a long way, even in New Orleans as well, a vet. I would love to see Justin Fields sit behind a vet so he can learn, right? I think that just speaks volumes. I think that's such an underrated quality. I really do. Underrated asset. I really, really do. The Jets should give him a shot. Why not, right? All right, and then lastly, Seattle. I say Seattle because obviously Mike McDonald is the head coach there now. He was in Baltimore. He understands quarterbacks like Justin Fields. He understands what an important good defense means to a quarterback like Justin Fields, right? I'm not sure who the OC is right now in Seattle. I'm not sure who it is, but I will say that's a good landing spot. He could probably push Geno. I think they'll play Geno, because I think Geno's earned another shot to at least start for another year under a new coach. But I think he could push Geno, right? So it's possible. It's definitely possible, right? Definitely possible. It just kind of bothers me about Justin Fields, man, because I want to show you guys his numbers real quick. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick and show you Justin Fields' numbers. I just feel like Justin Fields, here's his numbers right here. He's not a bad quarterback. Now I know his completion percentage can be a little higher. He's looking a little Cam Newton-ish right there, but he's not bad. I just have a hard time fathoming, and just understanding that nobody can use this guy. Nobody can use a dynamic player like Justin Fields. Nobody can. Nobody can use Justin Fields. I just find it so hard to believe that nobody can use. I even thought of 2 more teams before I came up here. I wrote them down. Even if it's the Eagles, right? Similar quarterback. He's not gonna supersede Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts got paid. He is entrenched as the starter there, so there's no threat, right? The Eagles can't figure out a way to kind of use his legs and maybe use him as a tush push, or even a team like Miami. I don't think he's gonna push Tua. I think he like Tua, but hey, Tua's injury prone. Tua goes down. Justin Fields can't go in there. Mike McDaniel, the genius, can't go in there and figure some things out and trade for this guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm just very shocked that Justin Fields is still has not been picked up. I'm very surprised. I really am. I'm very shocked that he has not been picked up. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of disappointing. It is. I feel bad for the kid because, I feel like he did everything he could do last year. They got him a receiver, and that receiver went over for 1,300 yards. So clearly, Justin Fields knows how to get the ball to his best guys, right? So, and that's what you want at the end of the day. just think that he was given a raw deal. Honestly, it's a new regime, so obviously they don't have to do anything. They're not obligated to keep Justin Fields. So I understand that part, but man, gut feeling where I think he's going to land. My gut feeling, it was the Raiders, but now that they have Gardner Minshew, I think he's going to land with the team that's not on this list. If I had to choose someone from this list, it would be the Seahawks or the Jets. Right. But if it was someone off the list, I feel like the Eagles could probably take a chance on him, and then maybe Miami. I think those are because Eagles, obviously, because it's the same playing style as Jalen Hurts, nothing changes, and you can use him some packages. Same thing with the Miami Dolphins. You know, Mike McDaniels was a pretty creative coach. He did some crazy innovative plays last year with some guys. I feel like he can use the speed and athleticism of a Justin Fields, maybe some double passes or something like that, right? Kind of similar to the way that Andy Reid kind of used Michael Vick the first year Michael Vick got out of jail, right? You know, so just considering that, man, I don't know. I'm not really sure, but yeah, Justin, I don't think he's getting out. I mean, he's getting out, but I'm not sure where he's going to go. But I think his stock is just dropping with every single new quarterback signing because I'm not sure what people are willing to give up for him, man. It's tough. It really is tough, man. But we'll leave it at that, man. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on the Be Easy Sports podcast, man. I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to join me and just talk about the latest of the NFL today. NFL free agency was today. It was a crazy day. It was just new things, new team, new signings like every hour. I'm trying to think of a big one like Josh Jacobs went to the Packers. Chris Jones re-signed with the Chiefs, probably the second best player on that team. You know, so I can't think of more right now, but real good signings, and it's been a fun day to see these signings. And I'm sure I'm going to be talking to you guys again this Wednesday with my boy Fogg on the two-man front. We're going to be talking about free agency again. But I just wanted to talk about the Steelers a little bit, and then Justin Fields. Steelers are my team, obviously, who wanted Justin Fields. So, but thank you guys so much for coming and watching. D Hill, I appreciate that. Everybody else, I appreciate that. And, obviously, of course, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please join the page. This will be on the page. I'll share this to the pages. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys watch, leave your comments. I really appreciate that. And until next Monday, man, you guys have a great Monday night, and I'll see you guys next time.